I will be reviewing the Russian Tier 5 heavy tank, the KV-1. What must you know about the KV-1? This tank get normal matchmaking, so you will be getting yourself into Tier 5 to Tier 7 maximum matches. This vehicle, if you play it right, it can be a very fun Tier 5 heavy tank to use. The vehicle itself, you have a wide selection of guns to choose from. The 57mm gun to the 122mm howitzer on the tank. So you can choose whichever gun to suit your personal taste and play style as well. The vehicle itself, it have a good amount of armor. So as long as you angle the armor correctly, you can ricochet a lot of hits. Let's get into the stats of the KV-1 now. The KV-1 stats, when it is fully upgraded, the stats, they are just average. The hit points. You will have 640 hit points. That is a good amount of hit points at Tier 5. When you combined the maximum amount of hit points with the armor, you can take a good amount of hits before you are killed. This tank, it weighs a lot. The maximum load limit, it is 55.8 tons. My current setup, it is 50.59 tons, which will give me a decent horsepower to ton ratio. The top horsepower engine that you will have, it is a 500 horsepower engine. With it equipped, you can easily reach the top speed of 34 kilometers if you are going in a straight line on flat terrain or going downhill. The whole traverse, it is terrible at 20 degrees. It is the same tail for the turret traverse as well. The tank, due to its bad turret and hull traverse, enemy tanks can easily flank you and get flanking shots on you. If you are not paying careful attention to what is going around you, enemy tanks could potentially do a circle of death around you until you are killed. The hull armor, it is very good for the tank if you use it right. The hull armor, it is 75 in the front side. Rear, it is 70 millimeters. The turret, it is 110 millimeters all around. Let's begin off with the weaknesses of the KV-1. In the front of the hull here, you have the observation port, the hatch here, the machine gun port, the driver's hatch, and the lower glacis plate. Now to the turret. You have the observation ports, side, rear, and front of the tank here, and the commander's hatch. Also, you have a machine gun port in the rear of the tank. I found that with a well-placed shot, whether it be AP, HG, heat, or APCR, you can potentially have your modules and crew knocked out with ease. How are you going to make the best use of the tank armor? Get yourself into a hold down position if you can to hide the lower glacis plate. If you angle the armor for the hull to the left and to the right a bit, you can ricochet enemy rounds if they come to you. Enemy guns from tier 3 to tier 6, If you angle the whole armor enough, you can ricochet those tank guns shells. The turret itself. If you turn the turret to the left and to the right a bit, you can potentially ricochet a good amount of shells. The front of the turret, it is well armored. You have the cheek to the left and to the right of the gun mantlet, which is angled. So if you turn the turret to the left and to the right and use the cheek to your advantage, you can ricochet round as well. The gun mantlet here have some thick armor, so you can ricochet oncoming rounds. Now to the side of the vehicle. The side of the turret, a well-placed shot to the turret, it will most likely pen if the gun have more than 110 millimeters of penetration for its gun. The hull. With a well-placed shot, you can hit the side of the tank hull. If you do not fully aim, your shell will just be eaten by the tank track itself. The engine deck here. With a well-placed shot to the engine department here, you can set the tank on fire. The rear, just shoot the engine department in the rear of the tank here, and you will damage the engine itself. The rear of the tank hull, if you just shoot anywhere, you will penetrate it with ease. The turret rear. If you shoot a round in the rear of the turret here, you can potentially knock out the entire crew if you are lucky enough. There are a wide selection of guns to choose from. Me personally, I went with the U11 gun. This is a howitzer, which it does a large amount of hit points on enemy tanks. I could potentially do between 338 damage to 563 damage. The U11. If I use HE ammo, I will always do damage on the enemy tank if I do not even penetrate it. That is the good thing about HE ammo. If you do not penetrate, you will do some damage all of the time. The pen, it is lousy for the U11, 46 to 76 millimeters of penetration. The rate of fire, 5 rounds per a minute, it is decent. The loading time, for me, it is under 10 seconds with a good crew and the equipment that I have equipped. The turret traverse, it is bad, 24 degrees. The view range, it is mediocre, 310 meters. The signal range, the top radio will give you a 440 meter radio range. Let's get to the research of the KV-1 now. The research of the KV-1, it is straightforward. There is very little grinding for you to do. If you just want to get one of the 3 tanks here. But I will touch upon that in a moment. The good thing about the KV-1, where it is in the Russian tech tree, you can potentially go and get any of the tier 10s when it comes to the mediums, the heavy tanks, and artillery. The KV-1 here. It leads to the KV-1S, the T-150, and the KV-2. If you are interested in the artillery line for the Russians and do not want to go through the Tier 2 to the Tier 7 artillery hill, you can just go through the KB2 to get to the Tier 7 S51 artillery hill to continue your way from the S51 to the Tier 10 artillery hill. If you want to get to the IS-4 hill, you would have to go through the T-150 to the IS-4. If you want to get to the IS-7 hill, you would have to go through the KV-1S and the other tanks that lead up to the IS-7. If you are interested in the T-62A and the Object 140 hill, you can go through the KV-1S, which will lead to the KV-85 to the KV-13, which will lead to the Russian medium line at Tier 7. From this point onward, at the T-43, you can work your way from the T-43 up to either of the two out of the three Russian medium, the T-62A and the Object 140. Back to the research of the tank. If you just want to get the T-150 right away, research the tracks. If you want to research the KV-1S, you just only have to research the top engine. To research the KB2, you just have to get the 122mm U-11 howitzer. I would highly recommend that you get all of the equipment here researched because you are going to be using it later on the Russian light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, and artillery that uses the equipment. Let's begin off with the tracks. The difference between these two tracks is the increase in the load limit and the hull traverse from 18 to 20 degrees. If you want to mount all of the best equipment onto this tank, you will need to research and equip the top tracks, the engines. With the stock engine, you can potentially reach the top speed of 34, but it's going to take a little bit longer. The engine seal, it is used on a wider selection of vehicles that belong to the Russian mediums, heavy, lighter, heavy, medium, and artillery here. From the stock engine to the second engine upgrade, the M17T, you have the same 20% chance of the engine being set on fire from the stock engine, but you have 50 more horsepower. From the M17T engine to the 2VK engine, you'll have the same amount of horsepower, but 15% of the engine being set on fire though. I would highly recommend that you mount and research the top engine, the V2K engine. This is the best engine and have the large chance of the engine being set on fire. The Russian radios at this tier area. Most Russian tanks at this tier area have bad radios when it comes to the 10R and the 10RK radio. It is used on a wide selection of tanks. Fortunately, as you go up in the lineup, you begin to get better radios. The 10R radio, you have 360 meter signal range. but the 10RK radio, you have a maximum of 440 meters. Equip the 10RK radio, it is the best radio on the tank. The two turrets. Both of these turrets can mount all of the guns, except for the upgraded turret, the KV-1 CHTZ turret, which it can mount the 85mm gun. The only difference between these two turrets is the armor thickness and the HP boost between them. The stock turret will have 90mm in the front, 75mm to the side and rear. The top turret will have 110mm all around. Just get the top turret and equip it, because you will have more hit points and more armor. As long as you use the good turret armor and the hull armor to your advantage, you can ricochet a lot of rounds. Now to the guns. The shotgun you are going to be using is the 76mm gun, which is mediocre. You have a mediocre pen with some mediocre damage and okay rate of fire, 15 rounds per a minute. The accuracy, it is not all that good nor bad at 0.46 accuracy. The aiming time, it is bad for most of these Russian guns on the KV-1. It is 2.3 second aiming time. So using equipment and perks to reduce the aiming time will greatly benefit this tank. Get the needed EXP on this tank to get the 57mm, the U11, or the 85mm gun, whichever one of these suits your personality and taste. On a side note, the 76mm This 5 and the 57mm Project 413, these guns, they are a modification for the KV-1 to use them, but pretty much they are the T-34 gun on the Russian T-34. The three guns that you are going to be using to suit your play style. Let's begin off with the 57mm gun. This gun had the best rate of fire out of all of them, 26 rounds per a minute. But it suffers when it comes to average damage and the pen if you compare them to the other tank guns. The U11 had the worst pen though, but that is a howitzer. The low damage, you can potentially do a lot of damage with this gun, but all of your rounds have to penetrate and hit. The 76mm, the 57mm, and the 85mm gun, they use all of the same ammo type: armor piercing, APCR, and HE. The U11, it uses HE and heat. The 57mm gun, if you use it to your advantage, you can technically snipe at a far distance away due to its good accuracy, 0.34. Still, the aiming time, it is bad on all of these Russian guns, 2.3. This 57mm gun, what is good about it? You have a good rate of fire, and the gun is quite accurate though. The loading time loading time it is quick as well. The 85mm gun. It is a mix between the U11 and the 57mm gun. You have a decreased rate of fire from 26 to 12, but your pen it is slightly better, and you do a little bit more average damage with the shell. The accuracy it is a little bit worse, 0.42. You can technically snipe with this gun if you want to, but this gun it is more of a medium to short range gun. The aiming time it is 2.99 seconds. The 85mm gun it is quite good. You can rack up the damage done if you can get all of the rounds to penetrate and hit. Now to my favorite gun on the KV-1, the 122mm U11 gun. This is a howitzer with howitzer stats. You have a decent amount of rate of fire, 5.26 rounds per minute. 5 rounds, that is not that bad. The pen, it is terrible, but when you are using heat or HE rounds, you are doing damage to the enemy tank still, even if you do not penetrate. The thing about heat, if it hit a angled plate on the tank and does not penetrate, it is just going to ricochet. The damage on the tank. You are going to do a lot of damage with this tank gun. On average, around 450 damage with HE and 370 damage with the heat on average. The accuracy it is terrible, 0.57 meters for the accuracy. If you are planning to use the U11 gun, you have to get between middle to medium to short range, and try to for the aim to get your shell to penetrate and hit the enemy tank due to the bad accuracy of the tank gun. The aiming time it is 2.9. All of these Russian guns they suffer from bad aiming time. Let's get to the pros and the cons of the tank now. The pros and the cons for the KV-1. As a tier 5 vehicle, you are going to get yourself into a tier 5 to a tier 7 match maximum. How do you play the KV-1? Determine what gun that you prefer to use. It will alter how you play the KV-1. In general, the KV-1 play style it is as a front line tank, as a support vehicle, and as a brawler as well. What is good about the KV-1? You have a good amount of guns to choose from to alter how you want to play the KV-1. The turret and the hull armor, it is quite good if you know how to use it. Just remember, try to get the tank lower glacis plate hidden and in a hold down position if you can to hide that part. Just angle the hull armor to the left and to the right to increase the armor thickness to have a increased chance of ricochet. Same thing as for the turret. The 85mm and the 57mm have a very good rate of fire. The U11 gun. From tier 3 to tier 5 vehicles, you can potentially one-shot them if you are lucky enough Tier 3 and 4 vehicles, definitely. Now to the cons for the tank. The tank, it is slow, sluggish, and it's big. Just look at the size here and compare it to the environment around me. The tank have a poor mobility, so enemy tanks can flank it with ease unless the KV-1 it is in a group. The aiming time it is slow for all of these guns. For the 57mm gun only, if your loading time is faster than the aiming time, that is going to cause a problem if you want to get the shell to hit the target accurately enough. Some of the side notes that I made while playing the KV-1 are the KV-1. It can be a very fun tank to play at tier 5 if you know how to use it properly. This tank have multiple play styles. If you play the tank right, you can soak up a good amount of hits. Due to the tank mostly flat armor in the front, this tank also teaches you how to angle flat front armored plates to increase the armor thickness as well. Just remember to turn the tank hull, enter it to the left and to the right a bit to increase the armor thickness. Let's get to the modules, consumables, and ammo layout now. Let's begin off with the consumables. I would go with a first aid kit to treat your crew member injuries, the repair kit to repair module damage. I would generally save the repair kit for the gun, for the turret, the ammo rack, the engine. Because you do not want to be driving the KV-1 when you have those 4 module damage, especially the ammo rack being damaged when you're using the U11. It's like 20 seconds just for the loading time. It's even worse when you have a damaged loader as well. The fire extinguisher, just have it on just in case if you need to put out engine fires. The ammo for the KV-1 U11 gun, you have 50 rounds maximum. The 76, 57, and the 85mm, they would carry more ammunition. This KV-1, as I like to play this tank as a fun tier 5 vehicle, I invested more credits into heat shells here. Your main ammo type that you are going to be using for the U11 gun here, it is mostly HE. Again, the pen it is mediocre for the HE, but the damage it is quite high. The HE round, as long as you hit a enemy tank, you are going to do damage no matter what. The heat ammo, I would recommend that you have at least a couple of heat shells on you just in case if you come across tier 5 to TL7 tanks that have a lot of armor. This heat, it had increased pen over the HG 105 millimeters to 175. That is more than enough pen to penetrate most tier 7s to tier 6s in the game. The damage output for the heat shell, it is lower though, as it is heat ammo. I would probably have around 6 heat shells on you, just in case if you run into enemy tier 6 and 7 tanks. Also 5 that are well armored. The main ammo type, you are going to put most of your ammo type that you are going to be using, it is HE. Now to the modules that you are going to be, equipment that you are going to be using. I went with a medium caliber tank gun rammer to decrease my loading time by 10%. I generally find heavy tanks and medium tanks that have a long loading time. You must have a gun rammer on medium or heavy tanks if they have a long loading time, because it just helps with the loading time even more. 10% of 10-second loading time will just decrease it to 9 seconds, so every bit help. I went with the heavy spall liner here. This gets me a extra 30% to armor protection from ramming, explosions, and also it increase protection for my crew members from injuries as well. And ventilation. This just improves my tank and the tank crew performance as well. The other equipment that you want to use, I would recommend a toolbox just to have it. If you have one laying around, this toolbox would just increase your repair speed by 25%. In this vehicle, if enemy tanks shoot you at your tracks area, you are going to be tracked a lot. So having a toolbox, it is quite handy. Also, for your crew at a heavy tank, the rule of thumb, have repair skills for your heavy tank crew as well. Having all of your crew members having the repair skill plus the toolbox, your repairs are going to be done faster. You can go with the enhanced gun lane drive to decrease the aiming speed by 10%. That would help. If you're planning to play this tank as a middle support tank or as a passive spotter as well, you can equip the binocular telescopes if you want to. The rest of the equipment, it is useless. The cyclone filter, you can put this on if you want to. It just increases the engine durability by 50%. I have 3 replays to show you how to use the KV1 properly. Let's get to them now. This replay, I am in a tier 5 match at a top tier vehicle to show you how fun and good the KV1 can be when you're using the dart gun effectively.
Time to roll out.
I began to go over to the castle area. Right now, the team did a good divide between the two sides. Unfortunately, the M4 only 5 line there. He is without any support, unless the Martyr 2 can actually help him out. Look like the VK there helped him out a bit. If you're using the dart gun, you have to get used to the loading time and the aiming time of the vehicle when you're using the dart gun. And that's why I like using the dart gun. I almost one-shotted the VK there. Just going to pause the video right there. You see, I am angling the armor somewhat, so I've been getting like 3 or 4 ricochets there.
Enemy is hit. We're immobilized.
I only got 1 hit by something on that ridgeline there. I waited for the tracks to get fixed. Saw the 820.
Drive on.
I got into the low OTL. I stopped, fired on the BDR. That BDR is going to have one bad day in a moment. The enemy team have to use HE round if they want to penetrate me. This KV1 here, I am using this ridgeline to only kill my turret. The good thing about the HE, when you're using the dart gun, no matter what tier you're facing, from tier 5 to tier 7, you will always do some damage to the vehicle. The right side is not looking so good for us at the moment. KV1 versus KV1 when it comes to using HE. You're not going to do a whole lot of damage unless if you're using the heat ammo for this gun. Or if you're very lucky using HE to inflict a lot of damage. The allied team just noticed that our right front is in shambles right now. I am on my own, which is not necessarily a good thing in the moment.
They're knocked out.
I checked around before I advanced any further. Something just tried to hit me. It was probably the SU or the KV-1. Probably the SU. I'm right now just looking around for the last RD while using the building as cover. The RD popped up. Hello, Mr. RD.
Got him.
Have a good day. And this is where I began to get myself into a sticky situation.
Critical hit.
And there's the SU-85
We're immobilized.
shooting at my side.
Turret damaged. We can barely turn it.
I tried to turn and kill the SU-85,
Bail out.
but it was too late. I did not too bad for a top tier heavy tank. I got in 4 kills and about 2,400 damage. If I did survive and played a little bit more cautiously at the end of the match, I would have had gotten myself a steel wall. Also, this replay, I gotten my Master Ace tanker in the match as well. Let's go to the next replay. This replay, it is another tier 5 maximum replay. This replay I did quite well in. To show you how much fun you can have with the U11 gun yet again.
Time to roll out.
I went to the little monastery on the hill on the bottom east side of the map. I'm going to speed up the replay a bit. Well, now this is within a minute or so, I will encounter enemy tanks on this hill area. This is you here.
Critical hit.
I hit it.
Tracks is damaged.
I probably
Destroyed.
took a ricochet hit from that SU-85 maybe earlier before I got close up to him. This T-40 here, I aimed at it, missed the first shot. That T-40 got a second hit on me. The T-40, if it had the derp gun on it, it can just wreck a enemy tank up with its HE round, just like the KV-1 here. Things are not looking good for our team at the moment. Seeing that I cannot go back to base in time to help them, I see that the artillery is left.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
So I went into this part of the map to get as much damage I can before the match is over. Knowing that artillery is generally at this part of the map,
Enemy armor is destroyed.
I use that knowledge to my advantage. Me and the SU there missed our shots.
Gotcha.
This PD3 thinks it can penetrate me.
Critical hit. We're immobilized. Track hit.
Well, that T40 there, it didn't see things through my eyes. If I did went to the cap circle, they would have had won by capping anyways. Me and the Matilda, we could have had one by capping maybe. But seeing how things are going right now, the enemy team have more tanks at our base, so even if we did cap, we would have lost the cap race. I'm trying to get close up and personal, so I can make my dart gun hit the Chinook there, Chinook Kai. This replay I did quite good in. I got about 1,570 damage with 7 kills. Let's go to the next replay now. This replay, I am in a tier 7 match in my KV-1. I am again using the U11 howitzer on this tank. Knowing this is a tier 7 match, I am going to play more carefully than I would usually drive this tank in a normal tier 5 6 match. A lot of these tier 7s are just going to wreck me if they have their gun aimed at me. Right now, I am getting into a group of allied tanks here to do a push. I am looking around to see where the majority of the team went. Most of the team went to the south. While I am getting some time until I get to the front line, the KV-1S in front of me, it is just like the KV-1 in most areas. There is just some minor differences between these two. I am using this ridge line here as a shield, only showing my top of the turret.
Critical hit.
I got my shot off from 400 meters away. Just by angling the turret a bit, that KV-1 there ricocheted off of it.
Critical hit.
Also using the environment terrain angle also helped a bit. I missed my shot there. Seeing ZKV3 is going to be being taken care of by my team, I advanced forward. Right now I am using this ridge line here as cover.
Critical hit.
That SU-122. If I did fire a armor piercing round, I could not penetrate his front armor though. But using HE, I could do some damage. Don't know where that shell went. Right now I'm using the KV-1S body next to me as a shield.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
I aim at the Kepler, the KV there. Something hit me on that side of the map. It didn't do no damage.
Critical hit. Enemy armor is destroyed.
Our team is doing quite well. That Nazarn, don't know where he fired from, but probably at base somewhere. I'm very lucky in this match at the time. I did not get a single shot until later into this replay by enemy tanks. This Nashorn, I returned the favor by sending a shell in his direction. I moved up to this hilly terrain here as cover. Seeing the Nashorn popped up, I was going to aim and fire at it. This is where I begin to take damage. I am flanking this SU-100.
Target acquired. One of our gas tanks ruptured. We're low on fuel.
I got a good plane shot on the rear there.
Armor is destroyed.
Did a good 450 damage there. This is where my usefulness to the team comes to an end. For being a tier 5 heavy tank in a tier 7 match, I did not too bad there. Let's go to the garage now to do a brief recap on the tank. Let's do a brief recap for the KV1. The KV1, it can be a very fun tank to play if you know how to use it right. The tank itself, you can do quite well in a tier 5 to a tier 7 match as long as you know where to shoot and penetrate enemy tanks. The KV1 is also a good teacher to show you how to use heavy tanks properly. The armor on the vehicle, it is quite good. Just remember to get the vehicle lower glacis plate hidden if you can when you're hold down. As long as you angle the turret and the whole armor to the left and to the right, you will have a increase in the armor and the increased chance of ricochets as well. This tank, you have a wider selection of guns which will allow you to alter how you want to play the KV1. The KV1 itself, it can be a good solo or even as a group tank as well. Just remember that. If you are playing the tank by yourself in the open without any kind of support, enemy tanks can easily kill you, attract you, or even flank you as well. As a group tank, if you're within a group that advances, you can do quite well by supporting their advancement on one side of the map. This tank, I personally enjoy using it a lot at a tier 5 area. The tank itself, overall, it is just average. When it is fully upgraded, have a good crew, have equipment mounted, this tank can be a very fun tier 5 tank to use. The KV1, I would definitely recommend it to people. The tank, I would only recommend it to people who want to have a fun tier 5 heavy tank to use, people who like the KV1, people who want to have a tier 5 heavy tank so they can learn how to use heavy tanks properly. I hope that you learn a thing or two about the KV1. Good luck on the battlefield, everyone. If you like my video, do follow my channel and also leave a comment in the comment section.